Mayor Dave Bronson, thank you so much for stopping by the studio to give us some updates on road clearing efforts. How are road clearing efforts for the area right now?
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, as of yesterday at noon, the municipality has plowed all of their major roads and connector roads. So we moved into the neighborhoods to plow the neighborhood roads. I know there's great challenges on some of the state-owned roads, Diamond, a lot of the hillside major thoroughfares. So in light of that, and due to the public safety nature of these roads being so challenging, especially, for example, eastbound Diamond is a real challenge. And we need to get ambulance and fire trucks down those roads. I've directed here this afternoon, early this afternoon, I directed municipality, city snowplows to start plowing some of the major state-owned roads. That was done in coordination with the Department of Transportation. So we're looking forward to moving this on a little bit quicker, getting the roads back to far more passable levels. But it was just taking a little bit too long, so I just directed our assets onto state roads to speed up the process. And again, we did this in coordination with DOT.
And with snow in the forecast, possibly a significant amount of snow in the forecast Sunday into Monday, are crews falling behind? Are they catching up? How are crews preparing for possibly more snowfall on top of what we already have?
Well, again, the city is doing very well. We are into the neighborhoods. We've moved into the neighborhoods with our graders and trucks. Some of the major thoroughfares, which are not city roads, are still a big challenge, and we're going to have to do both. We will plow the neighborhoods. We will continue on with that, and we will work on some of the larger state-owned roads, especially on the hillside in Jewel Lake and Diamond.
Do we have any updates with the city's snow emergency proclamation?
No, it's when I was here a couple days ago, or yesterday, we did that proclamation. We're moving forward with that. That's in effect. That brought more assets to play. It allows us to instantaneously secure contracts to bring private operators, plow drivers, graders onto city streets.
And we're hearing a lot from people in the area who say they're frustrated with what they're calling very poor road conditions on streets that some people have been telling us normally don't get that bad. What would you tell them, especially now that we're getting more snow? I know you answered part of this, but I guess how would you address some of those more frustrated residents who are saying that their streets are just really bad right now?
Well, some of the streets are very bad. Some of the streets are actually very good. We're getting compliments on many of the areas in the city streets. Again, there's a distinction between city-owned streets and state-owned streets. We're responsible, obviously, for city streets. And we're actually ahead of schedule on that. But there are some streets that are more of a challenge. And again, we're moving our assets onto those streets that we normally are, and I don't think we've ever done before, to get that up to par, get them cleared, so we can get our so people can get around town, and we can get our public safety vehicles around far better.
And we understand you've hired more staff this year for snow removal and have more money planned for it in the budget. Are crews doing a better job with this recent snowfall this year? And I know I've asked you, but it doesn't sound like you're saying they're falling behind right now.
No, we're actually ahead of the timeline. We've got many streets that have been hit twice in the last several days. We're actually ahead of our required timeline. But again, the thoroughfares coming off the hillside, Jewel Lake, Diamond, those continue to be a challenge, and we're going to now address them from the city's perspective. We're going to help out and coordinate with the state on taking care of those streets as well.
And as we all know, we've had a number of homeless people who have died in Anchorage, who are living outside, sleeping outside, after talking about 2 feet of snow dropping in a 48-hour period earlier this week. Is there enough emergency cold weather shelter space for people living outside? And what's your message to those people who have to live outside?
Well, we have enough beds right now. The shelter, the solid waste service building, is full at 150. We'll probably have to robust that up to 200. We've got to bring other shelter space online. Again, this is why we wanted to build a large shelter here a couple of years ago. We wouldn't be having this conversation if that building was up and running. And we had that ability. We've lost that ability now for the immediate future. So now we're adapting again, and the solid waste service admin building just came available fortuitously for us. We're real glad it did, but that's not a permanent solution. We need a building, a shelter that is purposely designed on a purposely selected footprint, and we had that certainly at Elmore and Tudor. We're still working towards that if that's a possibility. But again, I'd like to remind your listeners that in the last 3 years we spent $161 million on homelessness, and we don't even have a shelter, a permanent shelter to show for it. So, but some of the other hotels, like the Aviator and others, they're doing a good job picking up the slack. So we are thankful for that, and certainly a lot of our partners are doing great work. Salvation Army, Providence, a lot of the Catholic Social Services doing great work, and we're looking forward to continue working with them just like that.
And just to shorten up that question a little bit, are we going to have enough shelter space through the winter season?
I don't know, because we're having trouble with the counts. We anticipated about 400. We were told about 450 was the right number. We planned based on that. We kind of added a margin. We planned for, I think, 524. And in reality, we wound up with well over 1,000. So we didn't. The numbers that were given to us were not right. We went out and captured our own numbers by setting up a free phone line of all things, and that worked out very well. And that got us far more accurate numbers. So now we're compelled to deal with a much larger number, even as winter is hitting us full force here, like you mentioned, with the snow and the cold to come.
And circling back to one of the first topics that you were talking about, how are the DOT road clearing crews working with municipal road clearing crews? I know that you said that's unique. How is that looking right now, if you want to reiterate some of that for us?
Well, we're coordinating now. I came into an agreement with the commissioner of DOT, and we came to an agreement where we would coordinate. That is, and what that looks like is, quite frankly, municipality plowing some of the larger problematic state roads that haven't been cleared yet. Again, we coordinated with that, and the state was certainly willing to accept that assistance, and we were happy to provide it. And we're still continuing to plow the neighborhoods as we're required to, as we anticipate getting ready for another several inches of snow, I think, starting tomorrow afternoon.
Anchorage Mayor Dave Bronson, thank you so much for
Thank
stopping
you.
by and taking the time for us today.
You bet, Joe. Thanks.